Bro, there's nothing sweeter than looking at the girl that I first met with a bun on her head and her uncle's waistcoat and dirty shoes that had 200 naira, being a multi-millionaire in pounds. I'm telling you, by the grace of God, what me, Tems, and Wale have built, it can't break. When we started, we said the focus isn't Tems. The focus is the leading vibe. And music is going to be the vehicle that we're going to use to enter every single realm of business. Because music is a business. There's some things we don't compromise in our camp. And because we stick to that, we know God will honor his word.
Yeah.
In 6 years, we have 2 Grammys. It's in our office. I didn't even aim for a Grammy, bro. Like, I never aimed for these things. These things were never goals. Yo, where we are going, by the grace of God, is choky. Do you know how much 1 million streams is worth out of Nigeria? Like, if 1 million streams comes out of Nigeria, do you know how much it's worth now? It's $300.
No.
I'm telling you facts. Do you know the highest territory for streaming Spotify? Your 1 million is 10 grand. Boom. 8 to 10. See, if you notice, last year I was headlined the festival. So, for example, Tems wearing that dress for the Oscars, right? She wasn't meant to go and sit down with that dress. She was meant to actually change and then sit down. But because of time, they just rushed her there, right? Because when Dunsi showed me the dress, I was like, psh. So she's a walking cloud. I said, it's going. Do you know that tweet was specifically to trolls? And then the trolls made people believe it was Nigerians. So I was like, I just want Omar to be the conversation about Paris Fashion Week. All I told him was, do something that is striking. And then I saw that. I was like, he's going. Yeah, he just left. Like, he said he doesn't want management again at the height.
And that was it.
Yeah, that was it. It was very random for me, trust me. Man, those times were so brutal. That's when I found Christ. It was my lowest of lowest. I was hearing rumors about myself that didn't exist. Like, I heard I stole from him. I'm like, steal from you? We didn't even have money. Like, what are you talking about? Do you understand? We never made bread. And at the time, whatever percentage I would get, I'll tell him to keep. I don't have money. I'm sleeping on my friend's couch. But I'm like, I want my art, same mentality. I want my artist to be good. Because if my artist is good, we are good. A lot of people don't know this, by the way. What up, everybody? My name is Muyiwa Awuni, aka Donawon. I just spoke my truth on Afrobeats Intelligence.
Afrobeats Intelligence, presented by OkayAfrica.
Democratizing African music with Joey Akan.
And we're live. It's good to see you, brother.
My brother, I'm happy to be here. Happy to see you. As I said before this thing started rolling, proud of you.
Thank you.
Can't even believe I'm this amazing setup. You've come a long way.
Yes, I
Glory
have.
be to God. Come
I
on.
have. This used to be something I put in my car. I bought equipment, threw them into the car, and just hit the road.
God.
And now, there are people.
Not just that. You used to hit the road. Now people are driving to come and meet you.
Yeah.
That's another thing you have to think about.
I've never thought about it
You
like
have
that.
to. You have to. That's the whole point of understanding progression. It's in the details. The grandiose thing is obvious because, I mean, your podcast is known. But the little things of I used to drive, now they're driving to come and see me. Before I used to set up the equipment myself. Now I have people that set up for me. These are,
Okay.
Yeah. So that anytime you are feeling down, forget that PO.
So do I measure it? Maybe I don't think about it in like the mundane aspects of it.
Yeah.
So I measure it in, okay, how much impact has it had? How much this? For myself, I just think about.
How do you measure impact?
I know sometimes you can boil it down to numbers, but for me, it's just the amount of lives that it has done something for.
Right.
So, and I get the most random. I have a generation of music execs who are coming through, and they all look up to me.
Yeah, because you have knowledge.
Yeah,
And network, which is what makes a music executive.
true.
Yeah.
Well, you've not always had knowledge and network for yourself.
Yeah.
The first time I met you was many years ago. I used to think you were, I still think the same, but now, like, I've known you for a bit, but you used to be this extremely passionate guy who was so smart and had so much so much burning in him.
I don't think much has changed from that standpoint. Maybe I've just refined it in a way that is a bit more polished because, when you're outside the industry, you can have so much love for it because there's so many things you don't know. When you enter the game, you then realize that, it's not what I thought it was, and then that kind of dilutes your fire a bit. I wouldn't say dilute, controls it. You
Yeah.
then understand that, okay, this is not something that should be like a wildfire. Put it on a candle and navigate. So
Was that you used to share so much?
yeah.
You used to teach so much.
Yeah.
You did a podcast
Yeah.
where you were screaming your message.
Yeah, this was even before anything happened in my life. In fact, I started my podcast after me and Nonso Amadi split. I had to move back to Nigeria because that was all I had. I spent 4 years developing the brand, and eventually, we parted ways. And then when we parted ways, I literally had nothing, because back then the alternative scene wasn't, first of all, it's not even just the alternative scene. Afrobeats was just being discovered, and then the alternate scene was now new within the context of Afro, right? So from that standpoint, there was no money there, you understand? What I had to do was organize our own shows ourselves. Like, everything was bootstrap. And back in the day, me, Malik Berry, UG Official, Mr. Easy, we all used to stay in one apartment, right? And just like be very creative in ways to try and, be very creative to try and get things done. Easy was the smartest out of all of us, you understand?
Yeah.
So he took off. Then Malik took off. Then UG also took off. Then Jules, like, everybody was taking off, but I'm not an artist, So I had to think about things from the standpoint of what I learned from my brothers, and then apply it to artists that would listen to me, So that's how I got knowledge by my guys.
Why were you so confident that what you had in your head would work?
That's a very good question. Okay. There's the intrinsic aspect of just trusting your instincts,
Yeah.
but then there's the external factors that make me understand what works in general when we're talking about success in music. So if you've noticed right, the kind of artists I go for are very, very specific, right?
Yeah.
Like Nonso Amadi doesn't make Afrobeats like that. Tems is the same, Afro elements, but you can't encapsulate it as Afrobeats. Omar too, right? And the thing for me is this: when I was studying the game, I realized that it was very hard to brand Afrobeat artists because the messages were the same. Not just that, the aesthetics were the same, right?
Yeah.
So for me, it was like, there's nothing here that has wheels outside of music to propel an artist if they are not doing shows. So Nonso Amadi was this was 2016 as well, right? So for Nonso Amadi, I was like, I can tell an abstract story that engages the fans, that keeps them coming back for more, even though I'm not in their face, right? And that's just the gift of storytelling. It's why the Bible is the Bible. Like, the ability to tell compelling stories that, even if it's not marketed in your face, the stories last in your mind that make you come back to revisit, to even see this, if there's something you missed out. And the music is the driving factor for that, because the message has the music, so the music is the story. And I wasn't just seeing that in Afrobeats. What I was seeing in Afrobeats was a lot of lamba, you understand? A lot of formulated language that, if you were not Nigerian, you didn't even have the context of what you were hearing, you understand? And obviously dances that came along with that, which is cool, which is actually what gave the genre legs as well at a certain point. But with me, I just knew that what I wanted to do had to transcend my territory, because I also factored the economy, which was declining. So at every single point in mind, I was thinking, I need to package something that's authentically African. Obviously, just the fact that the artist is African, that's authenticity, right? But then a story that the world can relate with through that African artist, right? So I would pick in Nonso, you understand? With Tems, after Nonso, funny enough, the next artist I wanted to manage after Nonso was Wani, right?
Okay.
But Wani and I didn't see eye to eye on the business standpoint. And I don't blame him, because my value probably wasn't that obvious to him.
Yeah.
Because I knew my value. I was like, you know what? I've been through this before. I'm done with music, right? But bro, Tems is aggressive. Like, she saw something in me that I even forgot that I had in myself, right? So yeah, that's why I felt strongly about my way.
So, isn't it? We talk about culture,
Yeah.
and when you break down culture, it goes into certain elements. And for so long, Afrobeats as a culture has survived. It subsisted for a long time with dance and lamba and stories that were very unique to us.
Yeah.
And now, with the world looking in, with the world, finding connection within the space, why isn't that enough?
The authenticity of our culture.
yeah, those elements.
I think the elements are enough. I think the problem is the external influences that can make you think it's not enough. So people don't double down. That's what I think. Because think about it. And obviously I can only use myself and my people as examples, right? When you hear Temi doing interviews, it's her raw Nigerian accent.
Yeah.
The way she dresses, there's nothing that you see on her that wouldn't make you think she isn't African. Not just that, the way she represents herself, from her mannerisms, even when she says things like or things like that. Do you understand? Those are the things that the outside world loves because they haven't seen it before and the curiosity just drives them to it, right? I think what tends to happen is people, because we are used to ourselves and people's metric for external relevancy is Twitter, but the truth is Nigerians are probably the most people on Twitter. You really do not understand what's happening from an appreciation standpoint outside of your POV. So I think it's enough. I just think people don't know how to, not that they don't know how to, but just the confidence to double down on it, you know. And some people are doing it still, you know, like Rema double downs on the fact that he's an international superstar. You understand what I'm saying? Ira Star, she's still doing Afro beats, like the music she's making is Afro beats. She's doing her thing as well. She's doing amazing things all around the world. So I feel there's some artists that get it and double down on it. They just have to understand that authenticity is key, and that's it.
Afrobeats to the world happened and showed us parts of ourselves that we did not
100%.
know we had.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, showed us parts of ourselves that we did not know we had. And for a while, we flew very high. It almost looked like we were flying high as a collective.
Wait, time out. What gave you that opinion that we were a collective just because everybody was classified as an Afrobeat artist? I just want to know what gave you that.
You hope.
Okay, so it was the hope.
Yeah,
not the tangibility.
You hope. You hope first.
Man.
Yeah, you start from a place of optimism.
So you see, the thing is, the way you constructed your statement already proves that the problem was in the hope, right?
Okay.
Because I am a realist. I used to be an optimist, but now I'm a realist. And the truth is this. Afrobeats to the public is consumed collectively, right?
Yeah.
And as a result of that, it will now be projected from that standpoint that we are collectives. But that's not true. Everybody is an individual, and those individuals have cliques. You understand? So Afrobeat is actually cliquish. Some people get along with more people than others, and you can tell. It's obvious that my camp has a very, very strong rapport with Wizzy's camp. You understand what I'm saying? That's something that's very, very obvious. It's very obvious that Davido's camp has a very strong rapport with Kiss Daniel's camp. That's also very obvious. It's very obvious that YBNL, Young John Fields, they're collectives, and we mediate amongst ourselves in circles because everyone's cordial.
Yeah.
But we're not a collective because not everybody's values align. Not everybody's taste levels are the same. Not everybody's music preference is the same. And the thing is, within the genre Afrobeat, there's still variety and variation. So it's hard for you to, Altair was something that was probably more of a collective, you understand? But the same thing that's happening to Afrobeat happened to Altair, you understand? Once the mainstream come with funds, everybody's vision it's not even that everybody's vision kind of dilutes, but now there's more responsibility on your head because cash is debt.
Yeah.
The money they give you, you have to pay back in value. So that's what kind of like dilutes that. So,
and with why I always love to talk about hope is it is still the hope that makes me still want to do this.
yeah,
The hope that somehow we can go through. We've experienced the peak, gracefully experiencing a valley, or we've started the valley, the journey towards the valley.
I agree. I was having this conversation recently with a bunch of executives that Afrobeat is in its not decline, but it's in its valley stage. I like that word. It's in its valley stage. Yeah.
Yeah, Kimani taught me that yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. Shout out Kimani. I love her.
And so it's in its valley. We're going through a valley. And what Afrobeats to the world did to us was, first, you could think of, of course, a lot more people saw us. There was a lot more money came into the system. We were inundated with cash. But we didn't know I like to think from where I sit and from all the conversations I've had, we didn't know what it means to achieve success on a global level.
100%. 100%.
Was it because we had an information gap?
100%. That's why. Knowledge is king, man. Like the Bible says, my people perish for lack of knowledge. That is why. What it takes to, I've been blessed and privileged to be able to run a company that understands global success on all levels, right? And the truth is this, what it takes to actually do that, there's a lot of unlearning that needs to occur. It's one of the reasons why I feel the traditional model that we adopted from the West to apply to our people can never work, which is assign you to a label, I own your masters, I do this, I do that. Man, we're all coming from a suffering land. You now don't want to be a prisoner in a prison, imprisoning other prisoners. That is a recipe for disaster, and that is why you always see breakups. I'm telling you, by the grace of God, what me, Tems, and Wale have built, it can't break. Because when we started, we said the focus isn't Tems. The focus is the leading vibe. And music is going to be the vehicle that we're going to use to enter every single realm of business. Because music is a business. The problem is they have combined the two to make it feel like it's music business. There's music and there's business. In fact, now music, as far as I'm concerned, is just entertainment. Because if you're not dancing on TikTok or being an entertainer, why do you think people have a need to listen to you? But if you conduct the business in the right way, it also steers your focus. And because it steers your focus, it lets you know the things that you need to equip to sustain. The problem is the model is wrong from the first place. And as a result of that, artists don't even realize the things that they have to do. After Omar, Tems, they know. I sit them down, I'm like, look, this is what this means. This is what this royalty channel means. This is what PPL means. This is what BMI means. This is what PRS means. This is what publishing means. These are the deals you can do in publishing. You have to educate them so that when they are making their decision, it's not that they are blind. They don't think that the thing that is presented to them is the best thing they can possibly have. Because that's another thing. Lack of education also devalues you because you're operating in the blind, you know? So from that standpoint, yeah, I think it's an educational gap. But also, this is the easiest time to get education. There's ChatGPT. Just type it. It will give you everything you need to know if you don't want to listen to somebody. Just go on ChatGPT and ask questions.
What was the most obvious thing that was wrong with the Western model and this market, engaging with this market?
Ownership. If you're signed to a major in the States, you own nothing. And they have brought this deal to Africa, so it's kind of like the recolonization of Africa, just with intellectual property. I was even having a conversation with a young artist, and he was talking to me about, I think it's time for me to sign a publishing deal. I said, do you understand what you are signing, first of all? He had no idea. They just brought like maybe a huge amount of money. It's a lot of money that they asked this guy, that they offered this guy. But by the time I broke it down to him, he was like, I said, yeah. So choose wisely. I'm not telling you what to do, but I'm telling you what they would not tell you. So make a decision. Information, key.
So the question I was trying to ask was, what about the Western model?
Ownership.
Ownership. We sacrificed ownership.
Who is we? I own my stuff.
No, okay. Okay, what I mean. You know what I mean.
I get what you mean.
Yeah. But you don't think Afrobeats sacrificing ownership for a generation of talent was necessary for what it brought to us?
This is a very deep question. Do I feel it was necessary for it to become
what it has become? Do you think that was a steep price to pay? But do you think it was necessary?
So, I need to ask you a question.
Yeah.
The record with Skepta, and the thing is this, even because I have to think of the people that broke out, right? The problem is, even the model back home before Afrobeats to the World came about was still a replica of the American one. So, for me to say, yes, you're right, it was necessary. It was necessary. Because people didn't have any other way to do it. And personally, me watching people make their mistakes is what gave me the idea for my own model, right? It was like, this is not sustainable. And it's never been sustainable, you know? There's so many artists that have been ripped off ripped off the right to pass down catalog to their children because they don't even own it. imagine hearing your song being used by an artist and you don't even have the right to authorize clearance. You know, this is heartbreaking. So from that standpoint, it's like pick your poison. Do you want that cash up front? And like I told you earlier, cash is debt. I think a lot of people want money, but if that money does not have purpose, you just owe. Whatever money you have needs to have a purpose so that it's giving you back that money plus more, which is the only reason why I feel you need cash, right? If you want to be buying Range Rover and Lamborghinis, and then you're not ready for this business, honestly. So, yeah.
Do you think we were embraced right outside this market?
What does right mean?
A lot of people, so at the start, we used to have the micro battles at the start, like Burna Boy screaming, I want bigger fonts.
Okay.
And then it became, hey, we are execs, we only work with only white people are populating the place, foreigners, not even white people, foreigners.
Right.
And then after a while, a generation of industry execs, operatives became employed. But over there, a lot of that time I've spent it over here, except a few times where I've traveled. Everything appears outsized and larger than life over here.
Right.
So
Like from a consumption standpoint.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So we were for a long time we were just happy that we were in America.
Right. Pity this boy.
Yeah. But it's true. For a long time we were just happy that we were in America.
Yeah.
And then after a while, it became, we started having, after the balls have started rolling and the die has been cast, we began to talk about things like ownership. Ownership was second order thinking.
Yeah.
So in America, not in America, globally, America is just one.
Yeah.
In America, do you think we got our foot solid in the ground before? I'm trying to phrase this question in a way where before we went crazy.
I get what you mean.
Yeah. Do you think we got our foot in the ground? Do you think we did enough work as a culture?
So, as a culture, okay. So I'm gonna go on a tangent, but it's still cohesive with what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Now, in terms of like breaking in, like the Burna Boy font thing, right? I feel all these things here is just merit based, right? The bigger you are, the bigger your font. That's just what it is, right? And you're entering a new market that already has its thing going on, right? It is very difficult to penetrate America. I don't think people understand how hard it is, right?
Why is it that hard?
Because they have their own thing going on and they are their own people. They have their own interests. Like for you to catch the interest of an American, I mean, think about it from the standpoint that these people don't really know what's going on in other countries. Talk less of your music in another country. Do you understand? It's like a subgenre of a subgenre for them. You get. So to penetrate America is very tough because America is its own machine. They have their politics, they have their artists, they have their drama, they have their Real Housewives. They have so much going on from a consumption standpoint that for them to even pay attention to another person that's trying to tell them, hey, please consume this, and you're not speaking their language, you're not doing anything to really appeal to them, then clearly it's even more than the music that you have to do. You have to sell the culture, right? So shout out to the diaspora, obviously, which is England and all of that. Like Afrobeats moved from Lagos to Europe, from Europe to America, and as a result of just how we are as Nigerians, we became like appealing. Plus, a lot of African Americans are Nigerian too, right? So I think overall, a lot of things played a role in making America pay attention to us. It's not just the fact that we have artists. It's a lot of things that happen simultaneously. Also factor in the whole Wakanda Forever. Like so many things happen at the right time to make this thing happen, right? Now, remember I said America is a very hard place to crack. And you use the word as a culture. The truth is this. Our culture has not been exported. It's individuals that have been exported. You understand? You have Burna, Wiz, Tems, David, Rema, Ira. Everybody else is still trying to fight to find their way inside that market. And I know this because of numbers. Do you understand? I've been privileged to see some numbers from a touring standpoint. And if people are not rushing, do you know how hard it is to fill up 3,000 capacity in America as an Afrobeat artist? It's tough. It's tough. Do you understand? Because and I'm not talking about your diaspora fans, though. I'm talking about Americans. Do you understand? Because the diaspora market makes a very small percentage of the American market.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to break into the American market, you need the special grace of God. So it's not the culture that's broken in. A lot of people still don't know a lot of people that do Afrobeat music in America, but they know specific people that are representing the culture, and as a result, they will buy into the people rather than the genre. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, so that's what's going on right now as we speak.
Then why do we think it's bigger than that over here?
Twitter. When you see Tems at the Met Gala, it makes you feel, oh, Afrobeat. But to America, it's Tems at the Met Gala. Do you understand?
Yeah.
It's Tems. That's what you're seeing. Do you understand? When you see Rema performing as Ballon d'Or, Nigerians, oh, Rema is Afrobeats is a Ballon d'Or. So Ballon d'Or is Rema. You understand? So their point of contact is the person, and it's up to the person to represent their culture or represent themselves or both. It goes either way. You understand?
You guys did Aston Martin.
Yeah, man. Shout out my Aston Martin guys and my Formula One boys. Aramco, love you guys, man. Thank you.
Yeah, that looked really good.
Thank you.
That looked really. You guys do a lot of cool things.
Yeah. Bro, thank you. It's the grace of God. I have to give credit to my Lord and Savior, because the ability to move clearly comes from above. Because it's one thing for you to think about it, and then the execution happens and it's perfect. It's like, okay, this one is deep. You understand?
Yeah.
So from the standpoint of Aston Martin, I'll give you some context around the way we move in general. What are the things that they will not expect a woman to do?
Yeah.
That's it for me. Do you understand? And Wale and I are men that can think outside of the box from the standpoint of the things that would not only make her look good. Yeah, so first of all, I have a huge team. Do you understand? There's a huge team of people in Leading Vibe that, work with us. And when we come together to brainstorm, it's always a mazza. But obviously, everything starts with Wale and myself. Fundamentally, the things that we try and do, right, are things that we feel people wouldn't think a woman should be doing. Talk less of a woman from Africa, you understand? And because in our mind, Tems is still an artist that hasn't even reached her peak. Do you understand? Like, she hasn't reached her peak. She just dropped one debut album. Yes, she has a couple of Grammys, a couple of Oscar noms, but it's just the beginning. So what we are doing is thinking of ways we can expand her brand past to what people can comprehend. You understand? It's one of the reasons why we'll do Formula One. It's another reason why we'll invest in an MLS team. You understand? And we're doing a whole bunch of stuff that I wouldn't talk about now. But we're always thinking that way. Like, you can't see us coming by the grace of God. Like, if you can predict us, best believe we're not doing that. Like, if you can think about it, we're not doing it. Just know.
Okay. I'm very tempted to go into Leading Vibe, but I still
Yeah,
have
yeah.
before
Yeah.
if we're going to Leading Vibe, it goes now. You manage very successul artists.
By the grace of God.
Thank God.
Thank God. Every day, every second. Every second. I can't believe it.
You manage very, very successful artists. And people would look to you as an expert.
Mm.
Yeah, because you've got numbers on the scoreboard. You've done it. Yeah.
Is this Wine Muiwa episode?
No.
But I hear you.
It is state reality episode.
Yeah.
When you manage an artist, first, I want to understand why you choose the artists you choose.
Yeah.
And then when you manage them, what does management means to you?
Yeah.
Why you choose the artist, and what does management mean to you in relation to that artist?
100%. So apart from the quality of the music, right? And like I said, when I say quality, I mean the message. Like, you have to be saying something. And not just saying something in a way that is generic, i.e., I can hear this from another person. Something that is authentic to you in a way that when I listen and look at you, I'm like, oh, I believe you. So that's the first thing that attracts me to you, right? But then what makes me take you on board and say, okay, let's do this together? It's really your character, right? Talent. God has blessed Nigeria with talent, like you can see if you come out of your house now, go to the streets, you can see talents, especially musical talents, right?
Yeah.
But what is rare is character, and our country also facilitates that. If you just look around you in Nigeria, everybody's hustling, and they like it's hook or by crook. Do you understand? I must get it.
We're in survival mode.
We're in survival mode. Do you understand? So as a result of that, it's hard to find character. It's hard to find integrity. It's hard to find competence. People that will show off even if there's no money for the day. Show up rather, even if there's no money for the day. It's hard to find that, right? And you see Tems, bro. There's something Tems did that made me actually say, I don't want to do a managerial contract with you. Let's do a company. So when she asked me and I eventually agreed, right? I said, okay, I'm going to send you a contract, sign it, blah, blah, blah. We had already verbally agreed for everything. I thought at this point in time, when you present people to artists, it's always tricky. But she was chasing me to sign my own part. And I'd never experienced that before. So, have you signed it yet? Have you signed it? Please, we need to start moving. We need to start moving. Like, I'm like, yo, you don't mind signing paperwork? I'm like, hold on. Let's not do this. I said, you're someone I can work with for life. Let's start a company. And mind you, prior to this, Tems and I were friends for about 3 months, and we never spoke about working together. Like back then when I was doing my podcast, my WAC podcast, she would just be sitting down while me and my cousin are talking. She'd just be sitting down watching TV. And then obviously she wasn't financially buoyant in any capacity. You understand? Like when I met Tems, I think she only had like, if I say this one, this would be clip bits, but I'll say it. She only had like 200 Naira in her account. Literally. Yeah. And then I had a production company. So if I had money, I'll just, buy food. But then another thing that shocked me was even though she didn't have money, she would order food for us. So the little money she would get, she would order toasties or stuff like that. And she didn't have money. Like she didn't even have a way of earning, right? So I just realized that, man, this girl is different from everyone I've seen in Nigeria. Mind you, I wasn't thinking music space because I was out of the game, right? After a month, so I was like, yeah, I'm done. So when she was chasing me to sign paperwork, I was like, okay, you know what? This model can't work for us. Let's start a company, right? And then this girl told me, actually, I just registered a company randomly and it's just been there. I said, what's the name? She said, Leading Vibe. I said, we're changing the directors.
Oh, she registered.
She registered, but she did, like, she just registered a company with no real idea of what that would be. Do you understand? She just had the idea in her mind when she sang Mr. Rebel and she said, I am the leading vibe. And she just decided to register the company. I think one of her friends must have told her, I think his name is Kolapo, I'm not sure, but it was registered already. And then when I checked the directors, I saw it was her and just her brother. I was like, and her brother doesn't even live in Nigeria. So I was like, okay. I was like, I also need a co-manager, you understand? Because to rewind, when I wanted to manage Wani, I came with Just Finesse. You know Just Finesse?
Yeah, I know.
Because I already knew from my mistakes that I need a co-manager.
Yeah.
And, with my old mentality, I was like, I'm the only one that should manage. Man, if you're trying to go global, you need a team. Forget I am the one. If you're doing well, you will shine in your own department. So she was like, actually, it's funny you say that because Wale, and I was like, oh, I know Wale, we go to the same gym. Me and Wale had a conversation. We were all aligned. Leading Vibe was born. And then we started pushing with Try Me. Try Me hits. The rest is history.
And so, what about her chasing you about the contract was special?
Have you ever put a contract in front of an artist before?
No, artists usually give me their contracts so it's like
I
an experience.
So let me go back. So during this time, this is when things are still fresh and new. So this is 2018, 2019. If I want to work with an artist now, after my experience, the first thing I'm doing is presenting a contract. Artists don't want to see contract. Do you understand? It's like a repellent. Back then, it was like, I don't want to sign anything. You understand? It felt like some Suge Knight thing. You understand? Like, I don't want to sign. I don't even know what I'm signing. I don't have money for a lawyer. I don't even know if they were thinking about a lawyer or anything. But it was just a repellent. But she would call me every 2 days and just ask if I had signed my own part. And I was like, this is different.
She signed her own first?
Yes, now. I sent her the paperwork, sign. And when you sign, I have to countersign. So, but I was like, this is weird for me. Like, this is not normal. Like, but that was the level of focus she had. And not just that, the level of trust she had in me. Because if there's one thing I'll tell you here, Tems trusts Wale and I. Like, it's one of the reasons why I can do what I want to do. Do you understand? Because in her mind, she says, this boy knows what he's doing, regardless. He's fine. Do you understand? And there was even the time I asked her, have I led you astray so far? She was like, no. I was like, thank God. You know, because I'm not operating from a vindictive standpoint or to prove anything. I genuinely want her to shine. Genuinely. And I told her, I said, I will make my percentage worth millions by the grace of God. Do you understand? I want you to be good. So, yeah.
So your model, I know you experienced a few things with Nonsa Amadi.
Yeah, he just left. Like, he said he doesn't want management again at the height.
And that was it.
Yeah, that was it.
And
that was it. It was very random for me, trust me. But also, you need to remember, he lived in Canada, I lived in the UK.
yeah.
So all the legwork I was doing, I was flying between the UK and Nigeria. I had no team. It was just me. Man, those times were so brutal. Like, so brutal.
And when he left, what was the feeling?
Woo! That's when I found Christ. That's when I found Christ. It was my lowest of lowest. It was my lowest of lowest. Because you need to understand, he didn't just leave me. He left me. And then when I went back to Nigeria, I was hearing rumors about myself that didn't exist. Like, I heard I stole from him. I'm like, steal from you? We didn't even have money. Like, what are you talking about? You understand? We never made bread. And at the time, whatever percentage I would get, I'll tell him to keep. I don't have money. I'm sleeping on my friend's couch. But I'm like, I want my same mentality. I want my artist to be good. Because if my artist is good, we are good. You understand? So I'm very pro-artist. You understand? It's just that now that I'm realizing that Omar, everybody is moving mad. I'm like, okay, hold on.
And yeah, and this your company model.
Yeah.
Was it born out of that experience?
100%.
What does a company model do for you as an executive that the management model would not do for you?
It makes you think bigger than music. One of the things that cripples people is because their focus is narrow. It's pinpointed to music. Music cannot be the focus. It has to be the vehicle. You understand? So for me, the business model makes you see that, oh, actually, this is to generate revenue in order for us to do other things. That's what the company model brings. It expands your vision. It makes you understand that, oh, music is what it is, not more than what it is. I think that's the problem. With the label model or the management model, you are in the world of music, but there's a world outside of music, right? So bringing a company model and elaborating what that company is for, now you're thinking real estate, now you're thinking sports, now you're thinking movies, now you're thinking tech. You're thinking in a way that companies can move, that artists can move. You understand? And yeah, that's why I did that.
But some people would have apprehension about, but you can only do that if you have certain prerequisites.
Trust.
Yeah, that's the most important one.
If you have trust. So that's what it was for me. And for me, this is probably one of my weaknesses. You're innocent before you're guilty.
Yeah.
You understand? So I will trust you and then risk the chance of being damaged. But I feel human beings in general are worth the risk. Especially if, I treat you like God's creation. Do you understand? Why wouldn't I risk it? You're like me. We have more in common than we do differ. So why would I not invest in you like I'm investing in myself? That's my own approach. I know people have been traumatized by human beings, so they are very skeptical. But man, the way my own approach is in life is, if you do me wrong, it's your loss.
Yeah.
You understand? It's not my loss because you did me wrong. You left. You betrayed. You stole. And all I did was do you good. It's not easy to find someone that will do you good. So from that standpoint, I'm never a victim in my situation. So as a result, I can keep on going. Which is why after I saw a nice split, I could still work with artists. You know, I wasn't anchored by pain.
Beautiful. How did you know that America was a destination to explore?
The music.
Where did you get the first signal?
For Tems or in
For
general?
Tems.
Okay. Every artist that I've worked with, America has been the goal, right? And the reason why is because, like I told you earlier, I factor the economy. If Nigeria's economy isn't thriving, I don't care how well you're doing. In fact, let me give you a typical example. Let's use today, for example. Do Do you know how much a million streams is worth out of Nigeria? Like if a million streams comes out of Nigeria, do you know how much it's worth now?
It should be $1,000, $750, or is it $950 now?
It's $300.
No,
I'm telling you facts.
a million streams.
It
A million Nigerian streams.
It is 900 Naira to subscribe to Spotify.
Yeah.
And Spotify treats things territorially. A lot of people don't know this, by the way. So for me, I always knew that if my IP is anchored to a region where 1 million streams is $300, I'm cooked. I am cooked. And I knew this from Nonso's time. Because like I said, the trickle-down effect of the economy is going to hit the citizens regardless. Meaning your purchasing power is going to be limited. Do you know the highest territory for streaming Spotify? Sweden. That's where Spotify is from.
Yeah, that's the home.
Your 1 million is 10 grand. Boom. 8 to 10. In Sweden.
Then why don't we over-target
That's what I'm
Sweden?
saying.
Why
That's
don't
what
we
I
over-target Sweden?
See, if you notice, last year I was in Sweden. We headlined the festival. That's what I'm saying. Like, look, there's so much I could say to educate people, but I realize people love their ignorance as well. It's also why I've stopped speaking a lot, because I'm speaking to myself at this point. What I'm going to do is pour into people I see face to face, pour into my team and my artists, give my friends opportunities, and then anybody that wants to ask questions, come and ask. But for me to just be yanning, it's pointless. You understand what I'm saying?
And with America, what did you have to incorporate for it to take root?
Good branding. Good branding. America consume good branding well. I think Nigeria, we still have an issue with consumption of branding, because people can see you in one particular light and just say this is what you are. You understand? They don't understand the artistic element of music as much as America. Not to say that we don't, but not as much. I.e., if you're not telling me what it is from an obvious standpoint, it's too much mathematics to start figuring out. But in America, the reason why you can have a wide range of artistry is because Americans are into the art as well as they are into the music. So it's why you can have artists like The Weeknd, who is as abstract as you can imagine, thrive. At the same time, you can have someone like a Drake that is also his own artistic vessel and can thrive. Also Kendrick, also Cole. Do you understand? The list goes on. Even a Lauryn Hill that's only dropped one album and she's still touring till today. That is an art form that people can accept and appreciate in America. In Nigeria, they'll call you lazy. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's just the way we consume art as well. So for me, fortunately or unfortunately, I don't know which one I'll say, but what America has been to me is the biggest market for consumption.
Yeah.
And all I need is my peace. I don't need everything, because my peace is more valuable than here from an IP standpoint. You know,
Then what role does the music play?
the music allows for the brand to be authentic, because the music is the narrative to the movie you're seeing. Branding is storytelling. It's the ability for me to tell you I am something in different ways. That's branding, fundamentally. One thing you see about Tems is wherever you see her, she doesn't look out of place. So she's telling you she's something in different ways. Whether she's doing Fashion Week, whether she's in her music videos, whether she's doing interviews. And the same thing with Omar as well. Do you understand? These people stay in their authenticity because when you see them, they embody a story. With Omar, it's a story of pain. With Tems, it's a story of hope. They embody it. You understand what I'm saying? So from that standpoint, the music tells you that verbatim if you cannot understand it in the aesthetic, right? So if you hear the music and you see the aesthetic, it starts to make sense.
Yeah.
And then you now have a brand. Now, what you do with that brand determines your success or failure. So that's it.
You were accused a lot, or rather you were for a while. I think locally now, people are beginning to understand it.
I mean,
You were accused a lot of rejecting local.
you know what's so funny about that? I'm so happy you brought that up. Do you know that tweet was specifically to trolls? And then the trolls made people believe it was Nigerians. Like, if you're in my mentions constantly talking to me, I'm talking to you, and you know you are trolls. Like, why would, bruv, we blew from here. In fact, the only passport I have is a green one. I don't have any other passport. So why would I say I'm rejecting Nigeria? Nah, I'm talking to trolls. So even that message of me saying, I'm not here to entertain you, you just happen to be entertained. What does that mean? It basically means if you stop watching me today, I'm not stopping. Because I'm not doing it to entertain you. It's just a ripple effect of you happening to be over to entertain. So what? Oh, you stop watching me, you stop being entertained. Oh, I'm going to stop doing what I'm doing. That's not my why.
No.
My why is to show you what God can do with imperfect beings. So critique her or judge her, or you shall see. Now people are saying, Omar, he was right. It's not that I'm right. It's that I understand the way God works. It's not about perfection. It's purely grace and obedience. There's some things we don't compromise in our camp. And because we stick to that, we know God will honor his word. And he's not honoring us, he's honoring his word. Do you understand? Which is higher than us. So from that standpoint, it's just understanding these fundamental principles of life that were there before we were born that can make me speak confidently like this, because I know it's truth. It's not a matter of belief. It's facts. Evidence. Yeah.
And God, you found God after non-Samad.
100%. Omar, bro, you're not going to find God.
Yeah. And you've been an evangelist of some sort.
Yeah. Yeah, bro. I know death is real. Death is real. Like, we are all going to die, and everything this might sound morbid, I'm sorry.
No,
But
it's fine.
yeah.
It's reality.
Yeah, we're all going to die. And here's my thing. And these are the things that made me more like urgent for my faith. I believe we have free will to have a little taste of heaven and a little taste of hell. That's why we have free will. So any spark of happiness or enjoyment is because God's mercy and grace is still here. Why? Because we use that free will to do nonsense every day. If it's either self-harm in a way that we describe as pleasure, which is actually self-harm, or we harm each other, those two things offend God. Why? Because he made us. If this is a lie, make another human being or recreate yourself. But for the mere fact that I know I was created and everything around me was created, not just that, everything is also a narrative form. You understand life through a story. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Meaning there's a storyteller. So there's evidence that there's a creator and a storyteller. And he's also giving you instructions that have transcended time. Because for me, what is truth transcends time. You understand?
Yeah.
When Jesus says something like, if somebody slaps you, turn the other cheek, he's not literally saying turn the other cheek. He's saying afford grace. You understand? If everybody obeyed that principle, there's no way we wouldn't experience the kingdom of God, literally. Because everybody's obeying the principle of the grace that has been afforded to you by God himself. But we are so prideful and egotistic as a people that you feel that somebody has done something to you when they do something to you. An insult is an offer I can refuse.
True.
I can refuse because it's not true. And even if you react with me from that POV, the way I react towards you now defines me.
Yeah.
And my definition is not in you.
True.
It's in who I'm accountable to when I'm gone. And that's what I'm saying. Like, the element of experiencing hell when I do bad things and experiencing heaven when I do good things is just the byproduct of the fundamentals of life, which is why it makes sense we need a savior, because we are confined to our desires by default. It is hard for, I always tell people, try and not do this thing that you do every day for 2 days or 3 days. It's as if your body is on fire.
Yeah.
So you're a slave, whether you like it or not. That is your God. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So for me, I'm like, then what is the highest? I want to put the highest at the highest and treat it as it is, not put a replica or a parody and they be disappointed. My God gave his life for me. Anything else you put on that pedestal will take your life. And there's evidence.
Beautiful.
Yeah. You guys are enjoying it, I mean.
So one thing that has defined how you guys have moved has been your ability to take on multiple, I don't want to use the word gig because it simplifies it.
Multiple gigs? No, say it as plainly as you want.
Yeah. Multiple gigs, multiple partnerships.
Yeah.
And you've weaved your way in while retaining the essence of what it is.
Yeah.
You did Black Panther.
Thank God.
Shout out to God. You did Aston Martin. You threw the Met Gala, the Met Ball, you've had partnerships with the Academy and a few others, even the ones that it's too much. I can't keep a compendium.
I hear you, bro.
I can't keep a compendium.
Yeah.
Navigating all those spaces, what's the common thread?
I would say being Christ-centered. I know it sounds generic, but it's the truth. Because not every opportunity is an opportunity if it doesn't align with my values, right? If anything, you're a deterrent. And people don't know how to tell the difference because they're so focused on a goal. My goal is not about attaining, it's about becoming. So it's intrinsic. And nothing I get can add to my insights.
Yeah.
So for us as a team, we look at the opportunity and we ask ourselves, is this the right thing for us? And what that question basically means is, what are we compromising in order to do this? And glory be to God, none of these things have made us compromise in any way, shape, or form. Anything that, there was one, I'll tell you a backstory. So there was one magazine shoot that Tems was doing. So I just came on set to survey the thing. And I saw one dress they wanted her to wear. I just called the editor. I was like, she's not wearing that. Straight. Do you understand? She's not wearing that. She's not wearing that. She's not wearing that. Do we have any issues? No. Fantastic. Told head of security, Aaron, please make sure she doesn't wear that. And then I left. You understand? Anything that compromises what it is we're trying to do or who we are trying to represent. Because it's not about perfection. It's progression. Do you understand what I'm saying? Every day making a conscious decision to be better. You feel me? If we're doing that from a focus standpoint, any brand that wants to deter that, I don't even care. And that's one of the reasons why I feel people might think I'm strong-headed. I genuinely don't care about the things you care about. If you can align with me from the things I care about, I promise you'll probably even find life easier. Because nothing is ever a do or die from that POV. So that's the common thread, Christ.
And touring, I can ask the same question for audiences.
Yeah.
America is a big market, but it's
Massive.
just one market.
Yeah.
And you guys have found pockets of spaces to shine. Massive pockets.
Yeah.
On multiple continents.
Thank God. It's actually mind-blowing when you say it.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
What's the same question, what's the common thread that holds it all together and makes it resonate across board?
So like I said earlier, Tems' music gives you hope, man. You don't listen to songs like Higher, songs like Free Mind, songs like Burning, songs like Burning the Wild, and not go and think about what you just heard.
Yeah.
From a reflective standpoint.
True.
Bro, the first time I heard Free Mind, I wept. Because I was like, this is my life. This is my 5 in the morning, I wake up to 5 for my earnings. Like, bro. So I think, and obviously she's speaking English clearly. So from the standpoint, anybody
is that important?
Of course it's important. It's very important. And don't get twisted. Like I said, it depends on what you want to do. You can focus on gathering the diaspora in different silos, which will work if you just want to retain your authentic language, which is fine, because that's still a lot. But what I'm talking about is as much as we can get. And anything that is limiting, you understand? So incorporating incorporating components of your language, whether it's Pidgin or Yoruba, it adds to it. Do you understand? It brings the authenticity. But you have to package it in a way that people can consume. Because I've watched consumer habits across different territories. If you're speaking too much Lamba, they will tune out.
Yeah.
Understand? Bro, when we're on tour next time, please, I'll fly you out personally to come for at least one of our shows. Because I want you to see what a Tems show looks like. Bro, different faces, different races. One of my boys came in, he was like, is this an Afrobeats show? I said, bro, this is not Afrobeats. This is world music. It's bringing people, different ages. Bro, ages, like old as 70, like 70-something there, as small as 5. So, like I said, nothing is limiting. The music is listener-friendly. So there's no profanity that wouldn't make people say, oh, we can't carry our children. There's nothing limiting. There's nothing better than the highest good because it's for everybody. Do you understand? Which is why I say it's Christ-centered, because it makes us check ourselves, and as a result, the ripple effect is the maximum it can be. What God feels we can manage, you know? And he keeps on blessing us with bro, in 6 years, we have 2 Grammys, unheard of.
Yeah.
In 6 years, we have 2 Grammys. It's in our office. Do you understand? So from that standpoint, it's just understanding that, look, God honors his word. Genuinely, he does. But you need to make a decision to ride for him, no matter what. So from that standpoint, yeah, like I think the music brings hope, and the English that is heard is, you can understand it, you know. So because it's easily consumed, and then obviously you look at Tems, she's just a darling. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, sure.
So from that standpoint, everything just clicks, and then yeah.
This is a lot.
Man, I love it. I told you I'm here for you, now, bro. I'm here for you. I just hope. Is it boring? I hope you guys.
No, it's not.
Okay,
no,
sorry.
no. This also educates me because I learn a lot.
Wow, you can be educated.
I'm educated all the time. Well, how can you say?
You're a teacher now. That's why now.
Yeah, but being
you know a lot, bro.
I know, but being a teacher means you also have to study.
100%.
Yeah, so when you study, a lot of the time, what I operate with is pattern recognition.
Mm-hmm.
So
Fair
I can have all the conversations with everybody to get insights, but that would be me just sharing information that's privileged.
Yeah.
But when you look at a culture and you consume it a lot and you study the culture, you just see ebb and flow, the cycles come and go. And across generations, it's just the variables that are different, but it's the same behavior.
I feel you.
So when you see, so you can know when, and then there are metrics or there are things you watch out for. I remember when Afrobeats to the World was trying to go, I was trying to leave the industry then Afrobeats to the World was happening. And I told myself, okay, stay and document this. Yeah, that was what made me stay. And when I went around asking everybody said, oh, the goal is, I spoke with Michael Ugu from Sony.
Yeah.
And the goal is to put our songs on Hot 100.
That's what he said.
Yeah, at that point.
Yeah.
In his office.
Yeah.
Like the goal is to put the ones we can crack Hot 100. It was this. I joined Universal. It was still the same conversation. Let's crack Hot 100. Let's crack Hot 100. We cracked Hot 100. A number of us cracked it.
Yeah.
And within a very short span, extremely short, all of a sudden we were no longer showing up there.
Yeah.
We still appeared to have motion. We could still package the flash and do a few things. We left TikTok.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah, we left. We no longer have TikTok.
Yeah.
We no longer have TikTok hits. And then after that,
Well, my song is doing well now.
well, now,
Yeah. Shelley no deny.
Yeah.
You guys have heard that song? Yeah, my song is doing well now.
yeah, shout out to you. What I meant was there was a time when we had this record, Go Bamba.
Wow.
We had those hits,
Yeah.
not even tied to industry.
Oble is doing his thing now. What? I love that song.
Yeah, I love it too.
I think he's doing his thing.
Yeah, so we had all of that. And then after a while, we began to see a few things happen. We left all of those spaces. We started, our penetration dropped heavily. Our venue sizes began to reduce. And a lot of us were not feeling the ones we had booked earlier. Or we could not go back and do the things we did 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And by every time I come out and scream, hey, we are dying, people will be like,
You're an up.
you cry wolf all the time.
Yeah. No, you're not lying. Well, bro, you're not lying. I think and you can tell even the deals we were getting 2 years ago, we're not getting now.
can't get
Like
them.
ain't nobody giving you $1 million for nothing, bro. Like you're lucky if you can see 200K. Yeah, like I said, you're entering a territory that doesn't belong to you. And nobody knows what makes Hot 100 happen, bro. Like, this is not something I've ever aimed for. I didn't even aim for a Grammy, bro. Like, I never aimed for these things. These things were never goals. What was my goal? We have a dope message, period. You understand? We have a dope message. And what's the message? A girl from Nigeria that does not do Nigerian music can travel and be accepted globally. Why? Because our message is a message of hope. Finish. So for me, like I said, my things are intrinsic. And what tends to happen is if it's noble enough, people can tell, you know.
What's the message for Omar?
Oh, you're about to find out. Omar, you know the beautiful thing about Omar? So I'm coming in, obviously he was with Keycard, right?
Yeah.
So we had to do a lot of restructuring just to make sure that he's good and we can integrate. So Omar, myself, Ibika now have Boy Alone as a company. So Omar is now a company owner. He owns Boy Alone. He's registered in the UK. He now has an accountant. Structure, you understand? Publicist, accountant, agency for touring. A proper structure now, right? Now, Omar is telling a redemption story, but everybody is in his pain arc. Clarity of mind is not the place of redemption. I don't want to give too much, do you understand? But clarity of mind is a part of the journey, you understand? Overall, Omar is a redemption arc because you know his story, you know where he's coming from.
Yeah,
it is unreal. Do you understand what I'm
Yes.
saying? So that is going to be artistically portrayed, but you have to look in the details because we're not coming with anything you've seen before by the grace of God. It's going to be so artistic. The music is going to slap. That one just happens without us saying. But diving into Omar as a brand, as an artist, is going to happen by the grace of God. You know, so yeah.
Who stole his album?
Whose album? I don't know. You need to ask him. You need to ask him. You know, because the thing about
that cracked me up so much.
No,
I
listen.
was laughing.
Listen, let me tell you something. Yeah, I understand two things. I understand how easy it is for one to listen to something and be easily influenced by it, and in the recording process, it can come out. I understand that. I also understand sharing something in confidence and feeling betrayed when you hear what you shared. So I get it, the holistic thing. As far as the person, you need to ask Omar when he comes. Literally. You understand?
See, that cracked me up. I watched that clip a lot, and I'm like, "Chai, what's it from this one?"
Yeah, it's why you know this album has taken a long time because he had to start afresh. And it's sounding amazing.
Yeah,
in fact, I'm
okay.
happy he did it because this can allow us to tell a story.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And just before you go, we've been talking for an hour.
Oh, we should go.
Yeah,
What?
yeah. Production, they tell me I have to cap it at an hour. I can push
Fair
it
enough.
a bit, but they
I
aim for
understand.
an
I
hour.
understand.
Breaks my heart.
Yeah. If there's more demand on this episode, maybe I'll come another time.
Yes. Thank
So,
you. I'll
if
put
you guys want that, let me know.
I'll put the pin on it because there's a lot we need to talk about.
It's
I've
so
not even
much,
explored
man.
it. But just before we wrap this up, you have navigated an industry locally that you've seen a lot of like promise, but there's also been a lot of pitfalls. You've gone into a new industry where you have started collecting your piece.
Which one? Sports?
Me? No, like as a company.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, as a person.
Okay.
As a person, I'm talking about you.
Okay, I understand. Yeah. Mhm. I understand, yeah.
You started collecting your piece, and now you're taking on new clients. You have your song Venice
Yeah.
doing amazing.
Thank you.
Currently, you have clarity of mind coming.
Yeah.
That you have to work. And in all of this, when you close the book or when you take your time, what do you keep for yourself? What makes it all worth it?
Man, seeing people's lives change, I don't like suffering. Like, I don't like seeing suffering. I'll show you a message after this that my dad sends me. I'll just show it to you. I don't want to give full context, but
Yeah.
this thing of seeing people struggle, I know what that's like, bro. And for me, I had no helper. I don't answer to anybody now. I don't have a boss. This is just me and my people. Do you understand? When I say there's nobody I didn't ask for help, that literally just made me feel like I was nuts, right? That might not have been their intention, but I felt that way. You understand? Yeah. So from that standpoint, it's just seeing lives transform. Because like I said, if they are good, I'm good. You understand? I operate from an equity standpoint in everything I do. You understand? So financials, hey, don't even want to talk about that. But in terms of intrinsically, bro, there's nothing sweeter than looking at the girl that I first met with a bun on her head and her uncle's waistcoat and dirty shoes that had 200 Naira, being a multi-millionaire in pounds. Bro, like, anytime I talk on the phone now, I was like, Timmy. She was like, what? I'm like, I'm just proud of you. That's all. That's what it is for me. And I talk to my artist every time. As I was on my way here, I told her I'm coming to come and see you actually. She was like, okay, call me when you're done. You know? We're always talking. We're always in sync, you know? And she's an artist, so naturally, you know, she has her artistic thoughts of oh, does this make sense? Does it not make sense? But it makes sense, man, you know? So that's what it is for me, man. And same thing with Omar, you know? And Leka too. You didn't even bring up Leka.
Yeah.
See, there's not enough time.
Yes.
Because managing a producer is a different thing from an artist as well.
Yeah. We'll have another season at some point this year.
Yeah.
I want to come back after clarity of mind.
Yeah, okay. Because that's a project I'm really, really excited about. I feel there's nothing that sounds like it's out, and I think that's needed. Yeah. I think everybody's palette is kind of saturated with what is out. I personally have only been listening to that. That's all. Like I'm not even listening to music that's out. So I can't tell you songs that are out now.
Was that why you guys gave him the blowout?
Yo, you see that blowout here? That's Omar's innovation. All I told him was do something that is striking. And then I saw that. I was like, it's going. Because for me, that's one thing that is very important for me. Conversation starters.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes you can't plan it. You understand what I'm saying? So, for example, Tems wearing that dress for the Oscars, right? She wasn't meant to go and sit down with that dress. She was meant to actually change and then sit down. But because of time, they just rushed her there, right? Now, the striking element was for her to be seen on the red carpet. Because when Dunsi showed me the dress, I was like, psh. So she's a walking cloud. I said, it's going. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then she sat down with it. And when you're there, you're not thinking, when you're living this life, you're not thinking of the internet because you're in it. You understand what I'm saying? And the Oscars, you can see everything. Like, you're not blocking anybody. The stage is raised. There are too many screens around. So from that standpoint, we are not even knowing what's going on online. Like, they're saying that she's blocking people. But that was a conversation starter. So everything worked out for the best, you know. Overall, with Omar, when I was speaking to Bass, I was like, I just want Omar to be the conversation about Paris Fashion Week. So let's have a conversation of him making every single show, you understand? And I think through that, people could see there's been addition to Omar's key.
True.
But, bro, that was just for him to even see it himself and for him to understand that, where we are going, by the grace of God, is choky. I know me, I preach Jesus Christ to you every day.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Brother, thank you for having me, man.
Thanks for doing
Appreciate
this.
you.